Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
Well, that didn't go nearly as well as Wednesday's game. Welcome in, everyone, to Game Over Toronto following a 6-3 loss for the Toronto Maple Leafs at the hands of the Detroit Red Wings Saturday night in Detroit. The first hockey night in Canada of the season doesn't go as planned, to say the least, as the Leafs were horrible in that game all night. And as a result, they get run out of the building. The Red Wings were running circles around them, especially in that second period, which was horrible. We're going to talk about all that. Welcome in to Game Over Toronto. And how we doing, everyone? Remember to hit like, hit subscribe, as we're just honestly not even going to waste time. We're just going to get right into it. So as you guys know, when we do these shows, we start off with a game recap first. Then in the second period, we're going to get into the main theme. Third period, another story. And then we're going to get into the overtime segment, which is where you guys get to ask your questions. Now, before we get into it, my name is Zach Payne. You can find me on Twitter and Bluesky and YouTube at Zach Payne41. Follow the Game Over Network on social media. The Game Over Network, it's just that. Just search that and find us on social media. So to start off with, in this game, the Leafs were not good in the first 3 minutes. In the first 3 minutes, I wrote down in my notes that Anthony Stolarz had to make 3 very good saves. Both teams came out very aggressive in this one. And the Red Wings, coming off a 5-1 loss on Thursday, they clearly were not happy with the way that they performed, and they came out with a lot more intensity, a lot more purpose in this one to start the game right off the hop. And you could see that. The Red Wings were very fast, very quick to pucks. They generated a couple of 2-on-1s early. Couple of real nice scoring chances for them, but Anthony Stolarz was able to hold the door shut and able to shut things down. We'll talk about Stolarz later. In the first half of this game, he was absolutely exceptional. The Red Wings eventually would break through, but that's later in the story. Off an offensive zone faceoff, the Nicholas Waugh, Calle Jarnkrok, and Steven Lorentz line was out for an offensive zone faceoff. Puck gets cycled back to the point to Chris Tanev, who puts it on, and the rebound pops out to two Leafs. Both Nick Waugh and Calle Jarnkrok are all alone in front of the net. There's not a Red Wings defender in sight. Waugh bats at it. It's trickling in, and Calle Jarnkrok decides to poke it home for his second of the season, sniping Nick Waugh of his first career Leafs goal. And the Leafs take a 1-0 lead. That was about 3 minutes into the game. After that, short while later, Red Wings still doing their thing. They're still getting some decent chances. Stolarz making some nice saves. The puck goes back into the Detroit end. At this point, Steven Lorentz has already gotten banged up and hurt, so William Nylander is taking extra shifts on the fourth line. He gets the puck in the offensive zone. He cycles it back to Morgan Rielly, who fires a shot on, and Nick Waugh deflects it home for his first goal as a Leaf. 2 points for Waugh in the first period of this one, and the Leafs take a 2-0 lead. That marker came about 13 minutes into this one. And we end the first period with the Leafs up 1-0. Now, it wasn't pretty. The Leafs were still getting outplayed for the most part, but they at least had a 2-0 lead. However, in the second period, that would change radically. And, you could break this game down. First, second, third period. The first and third periods were relatively the same, where the Red Wings were controlling play, but the Leafs at least had a little bit of life, had some chances they were generating. They were, again, still getting outplayed, but the second period was a pitiful display of hockey, an absolutely horrendous display. The Leafs were getting run out of the building completely. So for the first several minutes, Anthony Stolarz was standing on his head. This guy was unbelievable for, again, the first half of the game, like I said. And that's why I bring this up. So in the first period, the Red Wings had 19 shot attempts at 5-on-5. In the second, they had 31. 31 shot attempts, 1.36 expected goals, 8 high danger chances in the second period. For reference, the Leafs averaged about 10 against per game, which was very good. The Leafs were very good at defending against high danger chances last year. They gave up 8 in the second period alone, and it was just relentless. The Leafs were getting trapped on these like long shifts where defensemen were out for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. There was a shift Morgan Riley was out there for like 2:45, and that shift ironically ended with the Leafs getting a 2-on-1 chance, but it was just horrible. The Leafs could not complete a pass. They could not get the puck. The Red Wings were skating circles around them in the offensive zone. They just didn't have any gas in this one. I don't know what happened. The Leafs would not move their legs, and the onslaught began off a play where Nick Waugh cycles the puck behind his own net to Simone Benoit, which when you look at it in a vacuum, that's a perfectly fine decision. But Benoit is completely gassed, so he loses the race to that puck. He loses the battle on the boards, and that puck comes out to Marco Kasper, who gets a wide open look in the low slot, fires it over the shoulder of Anthony Stolarz, and just like that, it's 2-1. And it wouldn't stop there. A couple minutes later, now this one was a bit unfortunate for the Leafs, as again, the Red Wings cycling, getting chance after chance after chance. Dylan Larkin working on Morgan Riley behind the net. He comes out front. He tries to make a pass, unable to. He tries to get a shot off, unable to, but that shot gets deflected to the side of the goal where Lucas Raymond is just waiting for it, and it ends up turning into a perfect one-timer. And just like that, the game is tied. And at this point, you're thinking, okay, it's 2-2. The Leafs have not looked good, but you did enough in the first period to get a lead, so now you're in a tie game. We're going to completely reset here. Nope. The Red Wings kept pouring it on. It was relentless what these guys were doing to the Leafs. And the Red Wings got a power play that they didn't capitalize on, and then the Leafs got a power play. Matthews ends up nullifying that by taking a stupid high sticking penalty 40 seconds into that penalty. Red Wings get a power play again. And on that power play, this is actually later that the power play shenanigans happens. Near the end of the period, Patrick Kane gets a chance at the side of the goal. You know, he's making plays. Patrick Kane had a fantastic game, by the way. Play cycles around towards the other boards. And the Rings get the puck again. And Lucas Raymond fires a pass to Patrick Kane, who is so wide open, it's kind of unbelievable. And I kind of want to show you guys, I don't know if I'll be able to do this, but I want to show you guys the visualizer for this play, because it is absolutely hysterical. So I'm going to see if I can pull this up, because it truly is just hysterical. So if I do this, hold on, bear with me for a moment, guys. I'm just trying to show you what I'm looking at here. Because this goal is absolutely hilarious when you look at it. So, okay, yeah. Okay, one moment, bear with me. I probably should have done this beforehand, but I'm doing it now. Hold on. Bear with me. Pulling it up now. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna just put this. I didn't think of where to put this on the screen. Sure, I'll put this in the corner here. Okay. So you guys should be able to see this now. And I just want you guys to look at I just want you guys to see this, because on this play, so this starts pretty okay. Puck cycles around to Patrick Kane. Okay, Patrick Kane has the puck. He fires a very nice pass to the defenseman, who gets a shot attempt off. Looking at this image right here, this is totally okay, right? You've got Dakota Joshua closing in. You've got DeBrincat open here, but Carlo can presumably go make a block. You don't love that Riley is losing position in front, but it's not a devastating situation to be in, right? So this shot goes through, hits the side of the net, cycles out, whatever. And suddenly, as you just saw, Nick Waugh abandons Patrick Kane, goes to the middle of the ice. DeBrincat fires this pass. Riley has now given up on his guy. Waugh has given up on his guy. And Patrick Kane, Calle Yarncroke is the closest guy, and he's in the middle of the ice. There is no one anywhere near Patrick Kane. And, like, this is a hilarious visual. Because the Leafs are actually technically doing what they wanted to do, which is take away the middle of the ice. All of the Detroit players are on the outside here, except for the fact that the Leafs forgot that part of packing the middle is you have to defend the cross-seam pass. If you want to pack the middle, this pass cannot get through. And also, just cover Patrick Kane. That might be a good idea. And just like that, the Red Wings take a 3-2 lead. So now you're in a situation where you're down 3-2 going into the third period. And wouldn't you know it, the funniest thing would happen at the start of the third period. So I think it was the third period, actually. I got the penalty stuff mixed up when Matthews... so the Leafs got a power play to start the period, but then Matthews hits the post and then takes a high sticking. Sorry, got that mixed up. So the Leafs go to 4-on-4. And they get an odd man rush in that play. And Max Domi skating through the zone. He pulls up, stops up, allows all the traffic to go in front of him. He pushes to the middle, takes a shot, and he scores, ties the game at 3. Somehow, we're tied. Despite the Leafs getting run out of the building to this point, Max Domi ties the game. Now, unfortunately, it would not stay that way, as the Leafs... so many penalty problems in this game. Max Domi, ironically, took a penalty a short while after. He was trying to get... Or sorry, that was actually after the next goal. I'll talk about that in a second. I think this was a play where Matthews could have gotten his second penalty of the game, got away with one, but then coming back the other way, OEL takes a tripping penalty. Wings go back to the power play. And on this, again, Matthews... We're going to have a conversation later. Because Austin Matthews on this penalty kill... He gets his... So Matthews is defending the middle of the ice. A pass is going towards him, and Lucas Raymond lifts his stick. I don't know what Matthews felt or saw on that play, but he throws his hands up, expecting the ref to call a penalty, even though he just got his stick lifted. While that's happening, the puck gets over to Patrick Kane. Lucas Raymond finds some open ice back door, and because Matthews... turn to the ref to complain, it takes him out of position. He's not able to recover in time to prevent the pass back to Raymond, and the Wings score, and they take a 4-3 lead, a lead that they would not relinquish. Now, immediately after that penalty, that power play goal by Raymond, Max Domi has a one-on-one rush where he's racing for the puck, and he just takes down a Detroit defender, takes another penalty, puts the Leafs back on the penalty kill. And the Leafs just didn't generate anything the rest of the game. I don't think there was a single... let me speak English. Per natural stat trick, the Leafs had one high-danger chance. There was only one high-danger chance in the third period, 5-on-5. It belonged to the Leafs. The Leafs finished with 7 in this game, to the Wings 13, and the Wings didn't have one in the third period because they got their goal on the power play, and they were content to cruise from there. Leafs pull the goalie, Morgan Riley fires it in. Talbot gloves it down and sends it to Edvinsson, who fires a 180-foot shot directly into the empty net. Andrew Kopp added one with 5 seconds to go. So Detroit ends up winning a 4-3 game by a score of 6-3, the same way that the Leafs won a 3-2 game by a score of 5-2 on Wednesday. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. And I have no words to describe. That second period was inexcusable. And look, we talked about this on Wednesday in the first show of the season. The Leafs are going to win ugly games this year. The Leafs do not play a pretty brand of hockey. They're going to get outshot a lot. They are going to get outplayed a lot and win games anyways. But there's a line to that. You can get outshot and win games. You cannot get dominated like this and expect to win. Anthony Stolarz did his best for the first half of the game, but after the dam broke, it broke. He could only do so much in this one. I don't even blame him on these goals. Like the first Casper goal. Casper gets the puck in the low slot, and it's a bang-bang just into the slot and into the net. Just quick shot, uncontested. The second one, side of the net, Raymond. What are you going to do? Like, Raymond was left alone. Third one, the Patrick Kane goal. Patrick Kane, we just talked about, was left all alone back door. And then Lucas Raymond, again, it's a cross-seam pass one-timer. The Leafs were the Leafs' bread and butter is that they want to let you skate around the outside, don't give up any high danger chances, and especially don't give any high danger passes. Those are those east-west passes leading to one-timers that lead to goals. The Leafs gave up 3 in this game that directly led to goals. They also gave up more than that as well. Horrible, horrible, horrible display of hockey by the Toronto Maple Leafs. They looked slow and lethargic all night. I'm very curious to see what Craig Berube says. I'll monitor Twitter and see what he says whenever the post game happens. I don't know if he's already started. Yeah, he already has started talking. No update on the severity of Steven Lorentz's injury, by the way. But Anthony Stolar says Lorentz was walking around the room post game. So that's the other thing. Steven Lorentz, no idea what his situation is. That's wasn't pretty. So in this game, the Red Wings control 62% of the shot attempts. They control 65% of the high danger scoring chances, 66% of the expected goals. The Leafs, in a period they were losing the majority of the time, generated 0.2 expected goals 5-on-5. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. And yeah, I've got no words, man. All right, let's check into the chat here. So Matthew, welcome back, saying, terrible game. This looked like a preseason game. Can we go with no captain until someone proves to be one? We'll talk about Matthews in a little bit. Adam Firebear saying, going to be a wild season for the Leafs. It's going to be something. Luke Venables saying, what does that say? That was infuriating. I don't even know. That was infuriating. Patrick Kane, is he good? Nobody ever. Yeah, he is pretty good. I will say, Patrick Kane turning back the clock tonight. Turning back the clock. Kane was better than Matthews. Yeah, Kane was fantastic in this one. Matthews doesn't know how to play defense without Marner. I actually don't agree with that, but he certainly has not looked good offensively. Matthews has been better defensively than offensively, and that, like, I know had a horrible penalty kill rep. And it's a shame because in the first period I was like, oh, the top line's actually doing things, but stats sound like a lot of Leafs only played one period. That might be generous. They still got outplayed in that one period. So, by the way, welcome back, OKO Digital. Welcome back, all of you. Good to see you guys all again. So, with that being said, we are going to turn this over to our second period. And of course, as I do, a reminder to hit that like button and subscribe with notifications turned on. We are live after every single Toronto Maple Leafs game. Make sure to go follow the Game Over Network on social media as well. And if you're on a podcasting platform, make sure you hit follow and leave us a review as well. And as we get into the second period, we'll talk about the top line now. Because, funny enough, Austin Matthews actually led the Leafs in individual expected goals with 0.58, which he did have the one shot that rang off the post in the first period, which I got excited for a little bit. If that one went in, I would have lost my mind. That would have been sick. He also had the one off the outside of the post on the power play, but then he immediately took a penalty. And obviously the penalty kill rep I talked about was not good. Funny enough, as I see you guys talking here, Matthew saying the top line kept getting hemmed in. The first line looks like it needs to all get on the same page. I'm hopeful that they will, though. You guys want to know something hilarious? So the Leafs forwards, in terms of like expected goals 5-on-5, Calle Jarnkrok Steven Lorentz led Leafs forwards in like 2 seconds of action. For all intents and purposes, Calle Jarnkrok led the Leafs with 74.79%. Nick Waugh was at 60%. Third was Matthews, closely followed by Michelli and Nyes. They were just a touch under 50%. And I think in a vacuum, you look at that, you're like, okay, they got outplayed, but it wasn't that bad. They were not nearly as bad as some other players in terms of the advanced stats. The difference is we need the top line to be better than this. Austin Matthews doesn't get to have an off night. He's making $13 million. He's the captain of the team. He doesn't get to have an off night, and he's now had 2 to start the season. I know he got the empty netter against the Canadiens, but he got outplayed to a pretty severe margin against the Canadiens on Wednesday against that top line of Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, and Juraj Slafkovsky. Tonight, it was the Larkin line, did the exact same thing. Matthews is getting outplayed 5-on-5 by quite frankly, against teams that he shouldn't be getting outplayed. Like, there is a very short list of players in this league that I would be okay with outplaying Austin Matthews. Connor McDavid's one. Nathan McKinnon's another. You could throw Draisaitl in with the Oilers guys. Nathan McKinnon. Maybe Kucherov. Maybe, like, some of those guys. Like, it's not a long list. And that's 2 to start this year. Now, the Leafs play the Red Wings again on Monday. And if we're looking, like, Michelli, Matthews, and Nyes, and we could talk about this too, their chemistry has been off. Matthew Nyes has been by far the best player on that line. He has been throwing the body around. He's been getting after on the forecheck. He's trying to make plays. He's trying his best. Austin Matthews has been okay. He's been He's been, he's been okay in a vacuum. He looks like he did last year. The problem is he wasn't good last year, at least not, again, per his standard. And this is why, I do want to clarify. When I'm criticizing Matthews, I don't think he was necessarily bad. However, it's relative to expectations. It's relative to what his contract says he should be doing on a nightly basis. And it's relative to his perception. It's relative to what we have seen from him in the past. We watched as an very clearly injured Austin Matthews outplayed Sasha Barkov in the playoffs to the point that Paul Maurice had to change the matchup because the Leafs were dominating the Panthers through 2 games, and then the series flipped on its head. Matthews is capable of outplaying really good players. He just hasn't been there yet. Now, Michelli on that line was not supposed to be the plan. It was not the plan. It was supposed to be Max Domi to start this season. It wasn't because of the injury to Scott Lawton. Suddenly, Max Domi is the third-line center. Whatever. We expected Michelli to get a shot with Matthews at some point, and he's been okay. I haven't been wowed by Michelli, but I also am recognizing he might just be in a role that's too prominent for him. I don't know if he has the capacity to play on a top line, go against top competition, and elevate, put Nyes and Matthews in positions to score. He had the one pass to Matthews off the rush that led to a shot off the post, but he's just looked okay. He's been very perimeter. He's a smaller guy. He's trying, I saw a few moments where he was trying to get after on the forecheck. It just wasn't there. I do think there is untapped potential with Michelli and with that trio, and I would like to keep them together. It's a long regular season. Keep them together for 10 games before we do anything drastic. I need to see them do a better job of controlling possession. I need to see a better job of them getting scoring chances. I just need to see more from that line offensively because it has one of the highest paid players in the league. It has a former MVP and a former 69 goal scorer. Offense should not be the problem. And it's been the problem for that line so far. And I know people are going to be quick to talk about Marner. No. Matthews just hasn't been good enough. And the thing is, Nyes and Michelli will totally be, they'll be perfectly fine, great compliments. But Matthews is the engine on that line. So when Matthews figures it out, the whole line will figure it out. I'm not worried about the other two. It's really just Matthews. Now, the trickle-down effect from that, though, is, okay, so the top line isn't going, so you need someone else to get going. Well, in this game, Nick Wall was going. But usually, it's okay, Matthews, the first line isn't going, second line will get going. William Nylander, Bobby McMahon, and John Tavares were all under 20% expected goals 5-on-5 in this one. They got absolutely killed in this one. Nylander, he had an assist. He also hasn't been good to start the year. He's been fine. He's been better than a lot of the Leafs forwards so far, but he's just been fine. Tavares, I thought Tavares had a lot of effort plays, but he just wasn't winning. He just wasn't effective. McMahon, same thing. Marner, I don't want to hear about No, yeah, I know what you mean, Austin. I'm saying, people, I know that people are going to inevitably be oh, Matthews can't play without him. Stop. That's not it. I'm pre-arguing with people on Twitter. So my apologies. Anyways, the one guy I do want to say I'm super disappointed with so far is Dakota Joshua. Another bad game for him. I haven't noticed him at all. I have not noticed him at all. I don't know about you guys, but I really have not noticed Dakota Joshua once. He's been bouncing around the lineup. He had a couple of shifts on the second line with Tavares when they moved Nylander up there. In the third period, the lines were juggled a little bit. And so Joshua got a chance with Tavares, still invisible. Have not liked what I've seen from Joshua. He isn't getting the puck at all. He's not winning enough battles. He's not being physical enough. I've seen on the penalty kill, like he's at least been fine on the penalty kill, but it just hasn't been good. Max Domi with another offensive zone penalty. Even with his goal, he instantly puts the team on the back foot with that. And you know what's funny is Domi almost immediately made up for it. I forgot to mention, Domi almost had such a sick goal after that penalty where he gets the puck at the blue line, does a crazy toe drag, speeds in, beats Talbot on the backhand and just lifts it high. Those penalties are just brutal though. Sorry, Nicky Bobby, but bring up Kampf as 4C, move Waugh to 3C, Dominic first right wing, Michelli to third right wing. Unless Lorenzo's out, then Nicky can play fourth right wing. Okay, hold on. There's a lot to digest there. First of all, I don't know why Craig Berube hates David Kampf so much, but that guy hates David Kampf. I don't know what's going on with that. Waugh 3C, absolutely. I fully agree with that. Waugh is... Dude, there's been a lot of negativity in this show so far. Can we just acknowledge... Nick Waugh has been kind of sick. I love that player. What a solid depth player. Is he the flashiest? No. Is he the best at any one thing? No. But he's just pretty good at everything. He's a big body. He gets after it on the forecheck. He's good defensively, good in the dot. That's just a solid player. Super solid player. You're right, he is not good enough right at this moment. The top players have not been good enough opener. Now, I fully agree. William Nylander had the funniest 3-point game on Wednesday. Was it 3 points? Yeah, goal and 2 assists. He had another assist tonight. Like, Nylander is the funniest 4 points in 2 game stretch. Like, he has not looked good, but and Matthews, we already talked about at length the problems with Matthews. He isn't hitting like he should. Blake could step in. Is that for Robertson or for Joshua? Sorry, Matthew. I didn't respond to that. I didn't respond to you in time. I forget who do you want Blay to come in for? Good idea about Blay. A Blay on the fourth line, by the way, I'd be totally okay with. If Lorentz is out too, I would be totally fine doing like Blay. I guess technically Waugh would still be the fourth line, but like he's the third. They have the scoring line and then the defensive line. So the bottom six, Domi's line is technically the fourth line, but I would not hate Blay coming in. And Kempf, he'll be traded, same as Robertson. I'm shocked Kempf and Robertson are still here. Hey, I'm stunned that Robertson's been Robertson's been He hasn't really done anything offensively. I saw him trying to lay Blay for Joshua. Thank you, Matthew. I don't think the Leafs will do that because the thing with Joshua is I think he's just not comfortable yet. I think he just needs to. I don't even know. I don't know what it is, but he just needs reps, I think. I'll give him a couple more games before I'm ready to give him a night off. That's the thing. We're 2 games in, so lineup changes are very much like, okay, this is clearly not working versus I think this could work. That we have to make that distinction. So Joshua, I think, can work. So I think give him a couple more games to figure it out. If this time next week we're having these same conversations, then I'm like, we can scratch him. But Robertson, I think, is done. The problem is Robertson is only playing because of the injuries. I would have traded. How can you trade Kampf when no one wanted him for free on waivers? Honestly, I think you have to attach a pick, like a 7th or something. I don't know. If someone at some point will get hurt for another team, and someone's going to need a center at some point, or honestly, keep Kampf. Keep him. Why not? If you ever need, if another center goes down, like if Nick Waugh gets hurt on Monday, then you can call Kampf up to be the 4C. So I don't actually hate. Now that he's cleared waivers, I'm like, you know what? Maybe we just keep him for a bit. But Robertson, I didn't have Robertson in my initial 12-man starting lineup. My initial lines, bottom 6 lines, would have been Joshua, Waugh, Michelli, and then Lorentz, Lawton, Yarncroke. But then Lawton got hurt, so that opened up a spot for Robertson. And then Now, with the Lorentz injury, he's really got a spot. I still would rather Robertson than Cowan. By the way, why is Easton Cowan sitting in the press box? If you're not going to play him, send him down. I don't even want him in the lineup. I just want him with the Marlies. The Marlies have played 2 games. Why has Easton Cowan not been a part of those games? I don't know. But if he's going to be with the big club, you put him in the lineup. What are we doing here? Like, this is horrific asset mismanagement. Anyways, that's a whole other tangent. Joshua will work. Yeah, I think just give it time. The newer players will start kicking. Michelli has already started, but he needs to go on the Tavares line or Domi. I don't... This is... Oh, showcase Nicky Bobby on the top line. Whoa, okay. Hold on. We got to remember the skill sets we're working with. So, just to your point, Austin, I would not put Michelli with Tavares because... playmakers don't work well with Nylander because Nylander holds the puck too much. I want to say too much because having the puck is a big part of Nylander's game. Like, he is going to be the guy carrying the puck everywhere for that line. We've seen in the past when you have another playmaker on that line, like Domi or whomever, or Marner even, it doesn't work because if the playmaker on that line opposite Nylander doesn't get the puck, they're kind of useless. Nylander and Tavares work best with someone who forechecks effectively. When McMahon is playing well, that line works pretty well. So I wouldn't put a playmaker there. I really am sad. I wanted to see Joshua Waugh Michelli to start this year. Honestly, we still can. The fourth line can be a mess. But I would consider doing the Nyes, Matthews, don't. Like, when Lawton comes back, I really want to see Joshua Waugh Michelli. I think that line has potential. And then as for Matthews' point, showcase Nicky Bobby on the top line. Matthews is going to be shooting the puck so much. Matthews and Nyes need someone who can give them the puck. They need a playmaker. Robertson doesn't have playmaking ability. He's a pure shooter, which is good. Like, if he's on the third line with a playmaker, it can work. But Robertson would get caved on the top line, and with how bad the top line's been through 2 games, I don't want to give them an even rougher hand to deal with. Which he needs to stop and pass more. Is that Nylander you're talking about? As in, like, Nylander needs to let his teammates go. Waugh Michelli, that sounds good. That's what it was supposed to be. The lines all preseason were pretty much Joshua Waugh Michelli. And then an injury at the 12th hour. And suddenly the Leafs are in disarray. They have no idea what to do with their lines because their 4C got hurt. It's insane how much a Scott Lawton injury completely changed the dynamic of this lineup. Like, we went from Max Domi might never have to play center again to suddenly he's the 3C. I was like, oh, great, we have Waugh and Lawton. Wow. Who should get demoted on the first 2 lines? I would give it another couple games before I do this. But Michelli, I would swap Michelli and Domi in some capacity. I don't want Domi as the 3C. I would try getting Domi up there. I would also try Joshua up on the second line. Like, if you need to mix it up, the easy solution is Domi on the first line instead of Michelli. Just get a different version of a playmaker up there. And then for the second line, you can swap Joshua for McMahon because Joshua's still a big body, will get in on the forecheck, and the archetype of player that he is will work well with Tavares and Nylander. It just comes down to execution. Okay, that is a very elongated segment on the forward group. So we're going to move on here. Domi was awesome tonight, except for that penalty. I will say Domi he was very active in the offensive zone. And also, shout out to Domi for actually shooting the puck this year. Like, it took till December the last 2 years for him to get a goal, and we're in game 2 and he got a goal because he's actually shooting the puck, especially on 2-on-1s. Good to see. All right, we're going to move into the third segment here. Again, just a reminder to hit like and subscribe if you're new because, well, like I said earlier, we do shows after every single Toronto Maple Leafs game, and we like to have these conversations after every single Toronto Maple Leafs game. Key Aussie saying, wow, so many Leafs content creators. You guys have as many Leafs content creators and excited about your team like a lot of our Detroiters have our Detroit Lions. So much love. Hey, Key Aussie, guess what? I am a Detroit Lions content creator. You can find me on YouTube at Zach Payne 41. Go check out my Lions content. That's just for you. I'm a Lions fan, okay? I will say, this is an aside. If Detroit had beat Seattle last night in baseball and we had Toronto versus Detroit, that was going to be really bad for me because that would have been such a weird clashing of my two worlds because I'm a Toronto fan in hockey and a Detroit fan in football, and that would have been bad for me. Anyways, we're not here to talk about football as much as I could. Third segment, I would like to have a little bit of a conversation about the defense because I've been a little concerned about their ability to move the puck. Now, we knew this would be a problem, to be fair. We knew that there's two guys that can move the puck in Riley and Ekman-Larsson, and then you have four guys, Tanev, McCabe, OEL, and Carlo, that are a little bit more useless with the puck. Tanev and McCabe can make a good first pass, but, well, Tanev can. McCabe, why can Jake McCabe not pass the puck so far this year? That has been really discouraging to see. And Chris Tanev, I don't want to overreact to 2 games. It certainly seems like Tanev has lost some of his agility. I've noticed some of these plays where he just isn't turning very tight. Like he's looping a little, like he just isn't as quick in those short areas. And McCabe can't make a pass to save his life right now. Don't love that. What was going on with OEL? OEL's also been... There was a weird... so during the preseason, they were doing this weird thing where for most of last year, the third pair was Simon Benoit on the left and OEL on the right because Simon Benoit cannot play the right side. This preseason, we saw again that they were trying... they tried Simon Benoit on the right, and now we got to the regular season, and they quietly have shifted that back. But it is what it is. So... the OEL Benoit pair has been by the way, Benoit was I'm good to not see offensive defenseman Simon Benoit until the playoffs. Thanks. Because whenever he tries to jump up in the play, he almost had a deflection goal on Wednesday, but I saw him jump up a couple times. I'm like, no, I'm good. I remember why I don't like it. McCabe and Tanev are not looking good. They're looking slow. Yeah. McCabe looks slow, but Tanev looks... I'm more worried about Tanev because it looks like he lost a step. McCabe just looks out of sorts. McCabe looks like it's more mental because I know that he knows how to make a pass. But the defense was not great when Riley is complimented. Dude, Riley's been good. Riley was unreal on Wednesday. He was fine. This was a normal Morgan Riley game, hey? Because offensively, he was involved. He was actually shooting the puck, which apparently is a tall task for this team right now. I didn't like Riley on the power play because I felt like his decision making wasn't quick enough. There was too many there was a face-off play where Nylander had his stick way up in the air calling for the one-timer and Riley just didn't pass it. And I was like, okay, like he's trying to set it up, but Riley's just taking an extra second too long to make his decisions on the power play. So I don't like that. And defensively, we know the problems with Morgan Riley. He has very poor gap control. He's not great at boxing out guys in front of the net, but he can stop a forecheck. He can skate the puck out of the zone. You have him for his offense, whatever. Brandon Carlo, useless with the puck. He also took a penalty in this one, which that one, it was kind of a weird one where Carlo was like, where's the puck? He's like, oh, the puck's over there. And while he was doing that and standing still, I think it was Andrew Kopp tripped over his stick. Whatever. That pair's been okay. That pair's been the best pair. But yeah, McCabe and Tanev were one of the best shutdown pairs in the entire league last year, arguably the best in the regular season, and they just have been not as sharp to start this year. But we'll see how that goes. I just want to flag the defense. The defensive configuration is fine. I just want to flag that they have not been performing as well as they could have, considering it too, especially some of the giveaways and passing problems. You have the exact same guys you ended last season with. Chemistry should not be a problem. So I'm just a little, I'm not worried. I think this will get better, but I just want to flag it. That's been out of sorts, and that's not something I expected to say about. I thought the defense was going to be the one thing that we're this is super solid. The forwards are still figuring it out. Instead, the defense is the one that's out of sorts, which is weird because nothing has changed from last playoffs with these guys, aside from the fact that they're a little bit older. They're 4 months older than they were when they left the ice in Game 7. So, a little weird, but should get better. And also want to shout out Anthony Stolarz. Like I said, again, he tried his best to keep the Leafs in that one. He at least looks really good. I know he gave up 4 in this one. Not really his fault. Switching over to our final segment. This is the segment where the questions are supposed to be. Obviously, that doesn't happen as much when I'm doing solo shows for the start of this year due to some network changes. And so a lot of these shows are going to be just like this. It's going to be me chatting with you guys throughout. However, this 4th segment is our dedicated question segment. So if you I know you guys have kind of been chatting with me, like we've been talking with each other a lot of the stream, and I thank you guys so much. Now, if you have more questions, this would be the time for that. And again, remember to hit that like button and subscribe. Key Ozzy saying, yeah, boy, Detroit versus everybody. We're so close. Oh, well, hopefully Scott Harris can stop being cheap with the checkbook and get us a couple bites. But yeah, GG Leafs. There you go. Yeah, that was watching that Tigers game last night. That took years off my life because I wanted Detroit to win. And I was watching and they were just surviving on vibes. That was horrible. Overreact. We demand hot takes to use against you later. All right, Luke, what's a hot take I could have? I'm trying to think. I don't think I have that many hot takes for this team. The Leafs are going to be I don't know. What would my hot take be? I'm trying to think. I'll come back to you on that. Ben needs to go back to Superman punching. Yeah. Going with my gut, I agree. Feels like a slow start. Famous last words, but that's how I'm feeling. Stolarz had absolutely no help. No, he did not. But he was sick. Really got let down by the defense. Should they have played Kampf on the 4th line? No, because they would have been playing him on the wing. In order to play Kampf, you would have had to scratch Robertson, and if you put Kampf with Domi, that's a horrible combination. Kampf's the insurance. If Nick Waugh gets hurt right now, he can go in. Like, Kampf is the break glass in case of emergency, 4th line center that'll give you 8 minutes where you don't really have to worry. Do you put Cowan in on Monday if he's still here? At this point, I'm really irritated with the way the Leafs are handling Easton Cowan. He needs to play. I don't for as much as I can sit here and be like, I don't want him with the Leafs right now because I think it'll be better for his development to be with the Marlies. I would rather him play with the Leafs than not play at all. Sitting in the press box is the absolute worst thing they can do for him. So I don't know what the plan is. It seems very clear that Craig Berube thinks that Cowan is one of the best 12 players they have. However, I think Berube is also recognizing that Cowan needs to be put in a position to succeed, and with Lawton out, that isn't available. But for the love of God, man, he can't just keep sitting in the press box. So if you're not going to play him, send him down, please. Just figure out how to get Cowan on the ice playing hockey again, because this is ridiculous. I know they've looked messy, but where's your hope-o-meter? I think it's the same. I think the Leafs are going to be in the top 3 of the Atlantic. They're probably going to be either the 2 or 3 seed. I don't think they're winning the division, but I think they'll be... They should be able to compete for home ice in the first round. They've just got to clean some stuff up and play better. The thing is, all the criticisms I have of the Leafs are criticisms with the understanding that these are things they can improve tomorrow. They could come out on Monday and fix all of these issues. I will say the Leafs are the heaviest team in the league. They are not built for October hockey. So we might have to struggle through some games like this for the first month and a bit of the season. But at some point when the games, as the season progresses, the Leafs are going to look better and better because the Leafs are built for tighter, more tightly checked, tight checking games. They're built for playoff hockey. So as we get away from the loosey-goosey nonsense at the start of the season, the Leafs will start to look better. So have a little bit of patience on that front, but the Leafs also need to play better. I'm not trying to be oh, this is just how it's going to be for a while. They need to improve. However, they should also, they are not built for this style of hockey that is played around the league at this point in time. Slow start will get better in a week. Exactly, Austin. We'll keep, the Leafs will get better. They'll get better. By the way, 9 of you in here. Remember to hit like and subscribe. Ask your questions while you still can. Side question, does this game look different with Lawton playing? That question from OKO Digital. I mean, a little. I wouldn't say the short answer is yes. The long answer is actually by quite a bit, because the entire lineup would be in different spots. Domi would be on the top line. Michelli, Waugh, and Joshua would be the third line. And then Lawton, Lorentz, and it would be Cowan in the lineup would be the fourth line. So Robertson wouldn't be in the lineup. Cowan wouldn't be Robertson wouldn't have been in the lineup. Yarncroke probably wouldn't be in the lineup. And Yarncroke scored in this one. By the way, Cal Yarncroke. I like that player still. I still like that player. I did a preseason article for Maple Leaf Hot Stove, and I wrote that I wasn't sold on Cowan being an NHLer, and that I would have put Yarncroke in over both Robertson and Cowan. After I wrote that, I was like, was that the best take? I feel a little bit more vindicated now, because I like Cal Yarncroke a lot. Cowan still needs to play a few games with the Leafs. Yeah, if you want to play him, sure, he can. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. Cowan needs to play a majority of the games with the Marlies. It is not worth burning a year of his ELC right now. He gets 9 games. You can play him those 9 games if you want. If you want to wait till Lawton's back to play those 9 games, sure. At some point, he's going to have to play with the Marlies, guys. 20 minutes a night with the Marlies is going to do wonders for his development, so much more than 8 minutes with the Leafs. And this is the exact thing they did with Nick Robertson, right? When Nick Robertson was 18, he played with the Leafs first, and he played games with the Leafs, and then he was hurt, and then he was up and down, and he never got to just play consistent minutes and carve out a role and work on his game. He was always being jerked around. And I don't want that for Cowan. I want to leave Cowan with the Marlies for a year, let him become a legitimate third-line NHLer for next year, and we can go from there, is what I would do. However, I'm totally okay playing him. Just let him play hockey. Stop scratching him. Stop sitting him in the press box to rot. Lawton is Lawton if he was playing. It would not have changed the outcome. I totally agree. If Lawton was playing, the Leafs still would have lost because the effort was... I can only guess they think Cowan is ready, but want him to come along to help settle nerves. Sit in on a couple of games, and when he looks settled and you go, I just play him. Playing him a couple of games would also help him with the nerves. Because when he plays his first game, the first time he touches the puck in a real NHL game is going to hit the same whether it's a week from now or Monday. So just gotta just let him play, man. Got to get the stars out of his eyes so he can see the puck. I honestly don't even remember who we were talking about. I'm so sorry. Leave Lorentz. He's in a good spot. If he's Lorentz, Steven Lorentz is the fourth line left winger. Let's not kid ourselves. Now, granted, he has to be healthy, and at the current moment, no shot. Ryan Reeves scored a goal, guys. It was not even a bad goal. Burning around the outside and tucks it short side. That's so funny. I don't know what's going on with... it was Cal with... Yeah. I don't know what's going on with Lorentz. We'll probably find out more tomorrow, if I had to guess. If this is a slow start, at what point do you expect to see what this team actually is? Well... the real answer is in the playoffs. That's the real answer. Shut your mouth. Oh, what did I say? Oh, Reeves. I really sat here being did I just make Luke mad? No, Revo. Yeah, Revo scored a goal. Go search that highlight up. I'll wrap up stream in a minute. Go search that highlight up. That was funny. That was legitimately funny. He had a tuck, short side tuck. After he burned down to the goal line and then pulled it to his forehand and tucked it. Anyways, at what point? So yeah, I expect to see what the Leafs are in the playoffs. But in terms of like regular season to get better of an idea, it's going to be November. October is always the month to settle in, figure things out. And November, the Leafs are like notoriously dominant in November and December every year because they get to a point in November where they're like, okay, we're better than you. And they actually start playing like it. Crazy concept. So, yeah. Leafs are more tough. He needs to play a few with them. Sure. And you know what? A week may be too close. Let's say a month. Win one, lose one, and then some Cowan. Okay, but so if you like, so Austin, if I'm misinterpreting what you're saying, then please correct me. If what you're saying is let him play games in a month, like towards the end of October, start of November, then play him with the Marlies and then call him up if you want to do that. He cannot be sitting in the press box. He has to play hockey. He's 20 years old. He needs to play. By the way, I kind of despise the fact that he's younger than me. I hate it. I'm only 23, so I'm still at that age where people, like players that are younger than me, like prospects coming up, I'm like, I hate how much more successful you are than me. My ego doesn't like it. I'm not mad about it. I appreciate your concern. Cheers, Luke. Love you. The Leafs at the end of October will win 10 games in a row. I don't know about 10 in a row. The Leafs usually struggle to win more than 5 in a row, but they'll once we hit November, I'm totally expecting the Leafs to hit another gear. October, I think they'll be decent, and then in November, they'll kick it up a gear. December, they'll kick it up a gear, and then we'll hit the new year, and they'll be back to win one, lose one. That's usually how these things go. OKO Digital saying, see you all next game. Go Leafs, go. Thank you for checking out the stream, my boy. Good to see you. See you next game. Or play sometime in October. He needs to get toughened up. Yeah. I'm totally on board with Cowan playing games. He needs to. We can agree that Cowan sitting in the press box is worse for his development than playing with the Marlies. And I would still argue that playing 20 minutes with the Marlies is better than 8 minutes with the Leafs because he's coming from junior. He hasn't played pro hockey at all. So the AHL will still toughen him up to a degree. The competition won't be as fast, but the AHL is still grown men that he has never played against before. You're hosting my favorite hockey chat. You are the picture of success. Well, thank you, Luke. We're building towards it. We're a very small channel still, but hey, we are growing. We grew a lot last season. We started last year with like 70 subs. We grew by like 150. That game 7, after game 7 against Florida, when we had like 60 people in here, whoo, that was chaotic. Dominic and I were kind of talking, and I was like, we cannot end stream, dude. Like, there's too many people chatting with us. Even though a lot of it was just people coming to dunk on the Leafs. I don't care. There's viewers and commenters for us. A few NHL games to see how it works. Put them with Lawrence. Sure. I will say, Cowan would have to be so unreal to justify burning a year of his ELC. Like, he would have to come in and just light it up to justify burning a year of his ELC. And I don't think he'll do that. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be totally fine, but... And by fine, I mean, he's not going to get caved in. You probably won't... The real answer is when Cowan comes in, you probably won't notice him. Aside from the fact that he's Easton Cowan and you're going to be paying extra attention. Like, the first time he touches the puck, you're going to be like, oh, Cowan has the puck, what's he going to do? And he'll just, dump it in. I don't... Maybe he gets a point, but I don't have any expectations for Cowan this season. However, if guys like Michelli and Domi get hurt, I would love to put Cowan on the third line. Let's say the lines they're healthy lines, whatever, and then Michelli gets hurt. I would totally plug Cowan in on a line with Joshua and Waugh. That'd be cool. Because then Joshua can protect him too if anyone wants to try anything. Lawrence lines struggle with face-offs. Waugh's a good face-off, man. I'm not worried about it. And Lawton's fine in the dot. I think Lawton's around 45% is crazy, a little bit worse. The Leafs are traditionally a very good face-off team, though, so I'm not as worried about that. When he came in his first playoff game, he got injured, but look at his first goal. Who are we talking about? Sorry, Austin. This is the problem. Is I'm talking to you guys so much that I'm losing track of our conversation. We're having 45 conversations at once. I'm losing track. For the record, I also think Cowan should go to the AHL for all the reasons you mentioned. Yep. Go to the AHL, yes, but he still needs a few NHL games. Yeah, if you want to give him a few NHL games, sure. And you know what? He gets 9. I think we can all probably project Nyes. Oh, we're talking about Nyes. When he came in first playoff game, he got injured, but look at his first goal. Oh yeah, when Nyes was dancing and doing spinoramas. Nyes' first playoff goal is so funny because it came like 20 seconds after he deflected one into his own net, and he was just and then he turned into a ballerina. And then Sam Bennett chokeslammed him, and we're not going to talk about it. I'm relating him with Cowan. Yeah, okay. I would caution against that because Nyes was good right away. Because Nyes was playing in the NCAA, which he was playing against guys that were a little bit more physically developed. So going from the NCAA to the NHL is a lot easier of a transition than junior to the NHL. Like, look at how Robertson jumped to the NHL and what that looked like. I think that is a more accurate representation of what that jump would be like for Cowan. And honestly, I think I want the Leafs to learn from the mistakes they made with Robertson is the most important thing. But at the same time, this is the point I was going to make, is I think Cowan if we're saying for next year, the 26-27 season, I think we can pretty comfortably sit here and say we expect Cowan to be a NHLer by then, like a full-time NHLer. So if next year you're going to burn start the ELC anyways, then yes, you should use those 9 games at some point so that he gets a couple of NHL games. You don't burn that year of ELC, and you can just get a sense of where he's at in his development. It's a long season. I don't care if those games happen now or later. Maybe you do 3 games in October, 3 games in December, 3 games in March. And you split it up just to be like, okay, so this is where you're at in October. Go play with the Marlies for 2 months. Come back up in December. Okay, this is where you're at in December. Go play with the Marlies a few more months. And then you can just it's a way to check in on his development. Cowan looks so baby-faced. I would love to see him drop the mitts, and it turns out he's a bare-knuckle champ. I would pay good money to see that. And Cowan has won a Memorial Cup. He was a major factor. I'd say give him a chance totally give him a chance. We'll say we found out that winning a Memorial Cup with the London Knights is not necessarily a formula for NHL success or for play. But no, I'm just kidding. I think that is all. I think we have now exhausted all I could possibly say about Easton Cowan. Play him for a few games. I'm totally okay with that. But don't burn a year of his ELC. We good with that? I think we're good with that. With that being said, I think that's where we're going to end this stream off. Thank you so much to everyone that has been in the chat. It has been an absolute pleasure chatting with you guys. Programming note, remember the Leafs have moved the start time of their game on Monday. It was originally scheduled for 4 Eastern. It has been moved to 2 Eastern so that it won't conflict with the Blue Jays. So the stream is going to be earlier that day. The game is early that day on Monday. Obviously, it's Thanksgiving. I understand that some of you are going to be busy with all that, but if you feel like checking out the stream on Monday, I would love to see all of you guys back here again, because like I said, it's an absolute pleasure. I love chatting with you guys about the Leafs after each and every single game. So that is going to be it for this stream. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you've made it this far on YouTube, remember to hit like and subscribe. If you're on a podcasting platform, remember to hit follow and leave us a review. You can find me on Twitter, Bluesky, and YouTube at Zach Payne 41. You can find the Game Over Network on socials at the Game Over Network. Make sure to go give a follow over there, because that will keep you up to date with everything you need to know about the Game Over Network. And that is going to be it for this one. So thank you so much, guys. I'll see you next time. I'll see you on Monday. Cheers.